Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I know what the song is. It's a bubblegum pop song that's 25 years old. That's why I looked at you funny. That's kind of random. So there has been 3 committees in the House of Representatives. By the way, I'm James Parker. It's the James Show. Yada, yada, yada. 800-288-9227. But the House Oversight Committee, the House Judiciary Committee, the House Ways and Means Committee have all recommended impeachment charges against Joe Biden. I don't know if that means it's going to move forward, but in the report here from Fox News, the Republicans said there's overwhelming evidence that Biden participated in and this is their quote, conspiracy to monetize his office of public trust to enrich his family. And so the thing that seems just obvious as hell to me and you that's being ignored by half of our neighbors here, there's finally been some movement on it. And it almost ticks me off, the timing of this. It's like, y'all couldn't have done this 6 months ago? Y'all couldn't have done this a year ago? You mean to tell me you just now found out that the Biden family, mostly through Hunter and Associates, they've been getting they got $27 million on paper, that we have the transfer records from the person that sent it to the account that it landed in over here. $27 million of documented fund transfers. From what? From Ukrainian interests, Chinese interests, the mayor of Moscow, some Serbian dude, some Kazakh dude. Basically, if you lined up the top 10 sketchiest countries in the UN, it'd be 5 of them. And they've been doing this for over a decade, or for about a decade. For the about third of my audience, 20 to 30% of my audience that is on Team Blue, listen up. Here's a question for you. What else could this money be for? What else could they be buying with this money? Do you really think Hunter Biden earned millions and millions of dollars from these overseas interests? Why would a gas company hire Hunter Biden to do anything? His only gas experience is the meth torch he was lighting his crack with. Yeah, he knows about the user experience of butane, but that's about the extent of his expertise. Do they need advice on that? Maybe they do. Maybe is that what happens at overseas Eastern Bloc gas firms? They need someone to help them more efficiently smoke crack. Are they after Hunter's expertise in evading paternity? Is that what it is? How bad does it have to be for you to admit that there's something shady going on? Of course, this money is meant to buy influence. Just like, of course, the opening ceremony to the Olympics wasn't about Dionysus. It was the Last Supper. Of course, everyone looking at it just went, duh. They're making fun of the Last Supper. Everyone who looks at this just goes, duh, they're buying influence. There's no other reason. There's no reason to spend $500,000 on a Hunter Biden painting. Well, you need your living room decorated that bad? You can't find a better option? This is it? Come on now. These are the same people that just lied to you about everything this whole time. We need you to wake up. You're starting to wake up on some things. You're starting to wake up that maybe that wasn't Dionysus. Maybe Hunter Biden was just the bag man for influence peddling, for bribe peddling. Maybe inflation isn't so transitory after all. Maybe Biden isn't the sharpest Biden we've ever seen him. Maybe he's in some mental decline. We need y'all to wake up a little faster. Because there's this whole process you go through when you're young and you're immature and you don't know a whole lot about the world. You have a tendency to lean left. And as you grow and you get experience, and you get wisdom and you read books and you have, business opportunities succeed and fall in front of your face, and you learn from the experiences of your friends and family, you kind of move to the right. We need you to move that a little bit faster. Remember, these are the people, the people that told you that Biden's not... That's not an influence peddling scheme. Hunter Biden's allowed to make money. Why would anyone think there's anything wrong with that? These are the people that lied to you about Hunter's laptop. These are the people who lied to you about Russian collusion in the 2016 election. These are the people who lied to you about the very fine people quote and kids in cages and Jussie Smollett. How bad does it have to be? How obvious does the bribes have to be for you to admit it was a bribe? How much money does Hunter Biden have to take in before you're like, that's too much? Is there an amount? Or are you just shut off to any idea that maybe Hunter Biden is just a conduit for bribes? What if he got $1 billion? Would that change your mind? No, he's worth it. Yeah, this crack smoking guy who's never held down a job in his life. Sure, he's worth a bigger salary than LeBron James. How bad does it have to be for you to admit it? Now, that being said, I know this sounds crazy too. I'm not sure this is the smartest move. I'm not sure that they should be even bother impeaching him. If they didn't do it a year ago, then let it go. Because now I'm looking at you guys kind of suspect. When I say you guys, I don't mean you, the dude listening to the radio show. I'm talking about the House Ways and Means Committee, the House Oversight Committee, the House Judiciary Committee. Where were y'all last year? Where were y'all 2 years ago, 3 years ago? When the laptop came out and we got all these emails and we saw, hey, I'm going to hook you up with the big guy. Here's a transfer of money. Here's the checks that cashed. Here's a $200,000 one in one bit. Oh, it matches the $2 million transfer. Oh, 10% goes to Biden. That all makes sense. It's all connected. Tony Bobolinsky backs it up with his testimony. Oh, my goodness. We all solved this mystery, 4.5 years or 3.5 years ago, and you're just now getting to it 3 months before an election? Even if you're right, I'm skeptical. I mean, of course, you're right to do the charges. You're just doing this for political purposes. You stink. You were letting this all go by for the last 3-something years, and now you're just doing this right before the election. Don't even bother. Don't even pretend like you got our back or you're doing oversight. Please, the guy's already been put off to sea. They already made him walk the plank. He's going to be nothing to nobody in 5 months. You can't just wait 5 more months. You got to get a skin on the wall. What good does that do anybody? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Talmadge Boston, historian and attorney, coming up next. And Dallas Morning News columnist. Coming up next on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome back to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. How do you think Trump's doing? Do you think he could lose this thing? Do you think that, the DNC starts today? Kamala, if you take the polls at face value, may be squeaking ahead a slight victory. If you look at the electoral map, it still looks like it's slightly leaning red, but this thing is pretty much up in the air. Do you like his chances? 800-288-9227. My next guest, though, is going to talk about what's going on the campaign trail after we saw the president almost get assassinated. Have there been some adjustments made? Frank Robertson's back on, counterintelligence expert. Have they made any adjustments since the shooting last month?
Yeah, thanks for having me back. They've made some adjustments. They're going to put the bulletproof glass up on the stage, 3 panels around the podium. I would imagine some of the electronic and technical aspects that are not going to let us all know about will be including drones and some other surveillance gear. So they're doing some things that make us, the general public, feel like they're doing some things to make them a little bit safer. Oh,
I thought drones were too expensive, Frank. I'm glad they were able to dig deep and find the budget for it.
Yeah, sounds a lot like the golf tours all of a sudden finding money when things came up. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to find a drone and some people to operate them and get them out there to take care of things.
Well, I guess my next question is, are they going to actually try and stop a shooter, or are they just going to make him shoot from further away from now on?
Well, here's the deal. This is really warm and fuzzy for everybody to see they're doing something to put that on there. But this kid on July 13th had, 3-4 hours of advance work. He would have figured out another place to be able to shoot from or while he was heading to the podium or away from the podium. So you still have to have all the other security measures in place, and you still have to have your snipers on top of buildings and other areas. You still have to do the rest of the job because there are still openings. You just eliminated or lowered the chance of one opening. I mean, there's been presidents in the past who used the glass, and they do it in different configurations, but it looks like Trump's going to be just around the podium.
Did they change anything for Kamala's detail?
I've not heard on her detail. Sitting presidents and sitting vice presidents get that. If they're doing these big outside rallies automatically, you can remember Trump had it on July 4th in 2019. Obama had it a few times, especially overseas. And it started with Reagan in 87 with the Berlin Wall speech.
Well, you say, I remember. I don't remember that. So that's a good catch. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Frank Robertson, where can they find you outside of the James Show?
BlackRhinoGRP.com.
BlackRhinoGRP.com. What do you guys do over there?
Well, we protect people. We make sure those high net worth people, CEOs, and elected officials get covered and protected so things like this don't happen.
And other important people like talk show hosts, perhaps?
Yes, talk show hosts. Yeah, have me over. I'm here in DFW.
Thank you very much. That's Frank from Black Rhino. I appreciate you being on the James Show again.
I appreciate you guys.
All right, you want to call in 800-288-9227. Let's go to the phones here. Mona in Dallas, you're next up on WBAP. What do you think, Mona?
Hi there. I just wanted to call in and respectfully disagree with Brent, the caller that was just on about 90% of the people, cringe when Trump goes off, on his tangents, because that's exactly what I love about him. And everyone I'm acquainted with and know, which are a lot of women, agree that that's what they love about him, because he's not a politician. He doesn't, he speaks what's on his mind, and he's saying things that a lot of us want to say. So,
well, I think what you heard there, not to cut you off, but I think what you heard there is projection, because what was it? Brent didn't like it, right? Well, my guest before that, the guy who writes at the Dallas Morning News, Talmadge Boston, he doesn't like it either. So I think because they cringe, they just assume everyone else is cringing. And so I think from sort of, if you just take the pragmatic angle and not the right or wrong angle, but like what gets the best results, is there a way that he can still be Trump? Because he's not going to lose your vote if he speaks more nicely or softly. Could he possibly not turn people away or gain people, whichever way you want to look at it, if he did adjust the temperature down just a little bit? Do you think he would lose voters if he turned down the temperature a little bit?
No, I don't. I don't think.
Right. And so I think that's Talmadge's point, is there's a way to keep all the people who do like you being savage and a little out of pocket, but it's not worth it to lose these other people. So why not be a nice guy and you can keep them both? Because it's not what you like. It's what they like. It's not what I like. And then there's a great Frank Luntz book. It's not what you say. It's what they hear. So while I say something and I know the intention behind it isn't racist, did I say it in a way that someone could misconstrue it and call me racist? Well, now I have a problem whether or not I'm actually a racist or not. I'm having a conversation I don't want to have. And I think that's the kind of the trap Trump gets into, because I think a lot of people like it, but I don't think he's losing anybody by being nicer.
Yeah.
It sounds so childish. I hate having to say that. Because it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't. But I don't know. I'm glad you called in, Mona.
Yep, actions speak louder than words, and it's really frustrating when I hear people or see people on the news and on TV saying that they're going to vote for Kamala simply because she's a woman. I also heard someone make the comment they're going to vote for her because she's happy and giggly. I mean, these people need to look up the facts, and just not go off the fake news. But anyway,
those people, so can't we just tell them like the vote was canceled this year? Or,
right?
I don't know, what kind of booger eater do you have to be? Thank you very much, Mona. David in Bedford, you're next up on WBAP. What do you think?
Hey, Casey. I'm sorry, James. I can't believe
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. Hey, my gosh. There's no way. Trump needs to stay like he doesn't. A majority of people like what he says, and in the last term he served, he kept all his promises. He's promising to drill, baby, drill. He's promising to have the biggest deportation this nation's ever seen. He means it. People want to see that because the Democrats have put this nation in peril.
Look, he didn't accomplish everything. He didn't drain the swamp. He didn't finish building the wall. He didn't repeal Obamacare, and he didn't balance the budget.
He built 600 miles of that wall,
and that's good. That's good.
More. Yes, and then the only thing that got him stopped was the stupid Democrats doing everything they could to stop him. That's going to change. He trusted too many politicians in his camp. Mike Pence was one of them. I hate to say that. Too many people he trusted to help him that was trying to stab him in the back. That's going to change. He has one term to get this done. It's going to happen. I'm just telling like it is.
Well, I like how fired up you are, David. How are you so confident when so many other people are like, he needs to watch it, or this is pretty close?
You need to check out the platforms, regardless of what they say.
Oh, I wish that worked. I wish we were all that mature, but there's a lot of voters aren't as mature as David in Bedford. Like you just heard from the previous caller, a lot of people are going to say, well, I would like to vote for a woman, or I think it's good to have a person of color, or I love her giggle.
James, I still think there's still enough mature people in this world that understands this fact that you don't kill or murder a 9-month-old baby, period. And that's the Democrat platform, bottom line. If you want to take it to that point, they need to. If they were talking about women's rights and all the above and my choice, bottom line, when you put a 9-month-old baby, it's not a 9-month-old fetus, it's a 9-month-old baby. That is the Democrat platform, and more Christians need to decide what they're going to do and who they believe in.
Thank you very much. That's David in Bedford. If you want to be next, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Do you think they should go ahead with the impeachment on Biden or just let him slide? This is The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. You knew this time of year would be hot and heavy with the news, and it is not disappointing. Decision 2024 rolls along with the DNC starting today. Their own side is protesting them outside of their DNC, mostly on the Free Palestine angle. We have articles of impeachment that moved out of some House committees this morning. A lot of stuff going on, and we're trying to just pile it all and condense it down for you in some understandable story segments here. What do you think's going on? 800-288-9227. Talmadge Boston thinks that right now Kamala has the edge, but it could easily go away with a bad debate performance or a disciplined Trump. 800-288-9227. This is Brent in Lake Weatherford. You're on WBAP. What do you think, Brent?
James, you're exactly right, and your last guest was right. Trump's a smart guy, but I think that TV show he had or something, he just can't. Once he gets riled up and going, he can't just stick to what he needs to do. I have no idea. I guess he has no advisors. Maybe his two boys, his daughter. I just don't get why the guy. That's why he lost the last time. He's going to do it again. He's going to screw the whole country because his freaking New Jersey, New York rhetoric. And that's what he does. He's got good ideas. He's a great American. He loves his country. He loves the military. But he just can't shut the you-know-what up. And it just devastates me to listen to that guy when he talks.
He would say, and I'm just going to say this on behalf, it's that exact same personality, that exact same guy, the exact same fight that won him in 2016. Maybe,
but things changed a little bit. And, we were so downtrodden during that time, but I guarantee all the listeners out here, 90% of them would agree with me that he just has to figure out how to get a lighter tone, talk about the issues, talk about how she's going to destroy the nation worse, get back to all his policies from 16 through there. And if he doesn't do that, we're going to be stuck, and we're going to lose the nation.
Now, are you speaking on behalf of other people, or is your vote like teetering on the edge of his personality?
No. I'm going to vote for him no matter what.
Right. It's okay. So
we can't let those people and their ilk, the baby killers and everything else and everything they do to destroy this country. We have got to get somebody in there.
I found it exhausting decades ago how so many people vote based on he seems like a nice guy, or they're like, I'm not going to vote for him. He seems like a bad guy. And so none of that should figure into it. None of that should even matter. Guy. I know.
Policies, conservatism, what the nation was founded on, Christian principles. That's my whole basis.
Yeah, like if you had, I feel you so hard on this one, just like mathematically speaking, if you had two candidates whose policy positions were so alike that they were almost indistinguishable, then maybe we could talk about personality. But other than that, a guy who's a complete a-hole but believes in free market capitalism would be a much better president than a folksy, fun dad type who wants to go the other direction.
Well, he needs to bring it down and get to the issues. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Thank you very much, Brent. I think he's settled down a little bit, but I've still seen flashes of him being brash, and it's not offensive to me, but it is offensive to some people. I hear this a lot, especially from ladies, young and old. A lot of them are turned off by that. Should they be? Of course not, but he's got to play the game or he might not win. All right, so Kamala Harris has been getting a lot of criticism for not taking questions from the media, so she stopped off last week and took some questions from her press pool for a minute and 6 seconds. So that criticism only fueled a little bit. So she went and talked to her press pool. I think this was yesterday. This one's 3 minutes. Let me just play like the beginning here, and then I'm going to play you one of the real questions that was asked. But the beginning's kind of suspect to begin with. Wait.
What we want in terms of a quality of life, and we need to give it back to them in terms of better equipment.
Hang on, let me start that over. Sorry, I had it set wrong. Way to go, Parker. Real smooth.
What you got?
Go ahead, right here. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's almost done. I mean, there's some little.
All right, you didn't hear the question, but she was asking, "Hey, so tell us about your speech. What can we expect from your speech, your keynote speech?" What kind of fluffy question is that? Don't even bother. So she got to waste a whole minute just word salading around that. And then someone asked her a legit question about her economic positions.
Said I'm going to work on it probably starting tomorrow for the next couple of days. But it's coming along. I feel good about it. Will do and what it will pay for will be tremendous. We've seen it when we did it the first year of our administration. We reduced child poverty by over 50%. So that's a lot of the work. And then what we're doing in terms of the tax credits, we know that there's a great return on investment. When we increase home ownership in America, what that means in terms of increasing the tax base, not to mention property tax base, what that does to fund schools, again, return on investment. I think it's...
All right. It's so hard to hear. It makes a big difference if you can't see your mouth moving, because she's standing right next to a running diesel engine on the bus. She was asked about all this new spending that was proposed with her platform that came out at the end of last week. A new child tax credit, $25,000 for first-time home buyers. We're talking about billions and billions of dollars in new spending, maybe even trillions, over a regular time scale. And she's like, no, this will all pay for itself. That's your excuse? It'll pay for itself? I mean, the child tax credit, how are we getting, what's the return on investment from a child tax credit? It's not like you're buying a stock and you can go get some dividends off it or sell it at a higher price for it later. There's no return on investment. There's no return on investment if you're handing out money for down payments on a house. We don't get that money back. There's no process by which, you got $25,000 for your house. Cool. Go ahead and buy your house and you can pay back that $25,000 with a little bit. There's none of that. And if there is, we already have that in the private sector. Where you borrow money to buy a house and then you pay it back over time. It's called a mortgage. Oh, okay. Yeah, return on investment. I love that economic myth. That is such a fantasy land myth. Yeah, we're going to spend all this. It's not spending. It's an investment. Nah, dude. It's spending. I've never got one investment check from all the investments that have been done with your money on your behalf. You haven't got a check either. Coming up next, we're going to talk to a counterintelligence expert, talk about what in the world is going on with the Secret Service. Have they made any adjustments after the Trump shooting? That's coming up on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.